After trying for 8 days straight and dying over 1600 times, I finally beat her. Yes! I mean, yes, there has been a lot of close to impossible boss fights throughout gaming history, but here's why I think Lilith is the worst of them all. 99% of her moves instantly kill you, so you have to never get hit even once, so your only choice is to dodge everything. Oh, and there are 2 full phases. You might think you're done when the health bar reaches 0, but no, that means you're halfway. And if you die, no matter how far you got into the fight, you have to start over. So, here's how she kills you in phase 1. The fight takes place in this circle, and if you even touch the edge, you die. She spawns these blood bubbles that explode if you don't destroy them within a few seconds. And of course, you have to dodge her other attacks whilst killing these bubbles. She flies off screen and lands sending earth spikes at you in a wide variety of different patterns and angles. The hitbox of these spikes is ridiculously inaccurate to the visuals you see, so you kinda have to learn where the spikes are in relation to where it looks like they are. Also, she spawns mobs that you have to kill in order to proceed in the fight. Only problem is when you kill them, they spawn a bunch of those blood bubbles again, creating a lot of chaos and stress and hair loss. Can confirm. Oh, and the few attacks she does that don't instantly kill you, these attacks will start to instantly kill you because the longer the fight goes, the more damage you take, indicated by this little icon down here. So if you somehow get through all of that in phase 1, here are some ways she kills you in phase 2. Lilith creates these blisters on the ground that spawn a bunch of ghosts that will chase you, and if they touch you, you die. This is the main mechanic of phase 2, but there's a lot of other attacks she does whilst these ghosts are chasing you. For example, she screams, spawns a phantom that does this red claw attack that of course, if it hits you, you die. And at the end of this mechanic, she slams the ground in a huge area, killing anything that's within it. She does this thing where she pulls you in, and if you can't make it out of the circle, you die. Also, this pull will often drag you into the ghosts, which is great fun for the whole family. She will cover the ground in tar, like the black stuff, and then red blood looking fire comes. And if you touch the fire, you're dead. And throughout phase 2, she cuts off parts of the map, and if you stand in the cut off part, you fall to your death. Oh, and she also spawns these little goblins that, unless you kill them, they will turn to ghosts that chase you as well. All of these things don't happen just in isolation by themselves, they usually happen all at once, making it near impossible to survive. Another challenge with this fight is that it is so random. The order of her attacks, the direction and angle of them, not to mention I needed my rogue to proc an effect from my items in order for me to deal damage, so all in all, it's just a lot of variables. Oh, and did I mention Diablo 4 is only available online, meaning there's latency, you've got delay, and the occasional awfully timed disconnect.
Reconnected to Diablo 4? No, not like this.
If that wasn't bad enough, you pretty much need to be level 100 with near perfect gear and build, plus millions of in-game gold in order to repair your gear after you die. And you'll end up using all your elixirs and maybe even your friends' elixirs. Basically, the barrier to entry to even try this fight is extremely high. On June 10th, after 9 days of constantly grinding since the game was released, I reached the max level of 100 on my rogue and felt confident enough to give Uber Lilith a go. I was quickly humbled.
So far, it's going great.
Oh, what? I came back the next day with a new game plan. I changed out my Paragon board and some gear pieces, which definitely helped. Instead of dying after 30 seconds or so, I lasted about 45 seconds on average. Over the next few days, I kept fighting Lilith like it was my full-time job. I made adjustments to improve my build and tried to learn all of her mechanics.
But I don't know what I died from here, I'm trying to figure that out. I think this explosion, which is like this big, killed me there. How is that fair?
On June 15th, day 5 of doing nothing but fighting Lilith, my mental health reached an all-time low. I have never felt so frustrated and defeated in my life. I was questioning if I was even good enough to do this. I was upset with myself that I was wasting my life on this meaningless project of killing this virtual boss with no real tangible reward on the other side. Without my fiance, I'm not sure what I would have done.
You did so well! Oh my god, babe! Look how close you're getting! You can do this! You got this, babe!
I literally had a full-blown ugly cry on her shoulder because I just felt so sad that I couldn't do it. Despite how miserable I was feeling, I kept fighting Lilith because it seemed to me like the only way out of the pit that I had dug for myself would be to beat her. On June 17th, I fought Lilith for 24 hours straight, from 7 AM to 7 AM the next day. And I got so close so many times. We're talking 1% health left in phase 2. And at this point, I was ready to give up.
That's it. GG. Thanks, Blizzard.
At the very least, I was forced to take a break from the fight because I was going away with my partner for 2 days to run a quarter marathon in real life. And since the Diablo 4 launch 2 weeks prior, I had not gone for a single run, so the race seemed very daunting to me, but in some way a perfect opportunity to prove to myself that I am good enough to accomplish something difficult. Finishing this race brought some confidence back into my psyche. Like, if I can do that, then surely I can beat Lilith too, right? So the day after the race, on the 2-hour drive back to our apartment, I started feeling that optimistic excitement again for killing Lilith that I had on the first few days of attempts. I dropped my bags in the hallway and immediately jumped in to fight her again, and I should have known. Lilith quickly humbled me by killing me over and over for about 5 hours straight. I mean, I did get pretty close again, but she definitely reminded me very fast that she is indeed one of the hardest bosses I'll ever fight in my life.
Fuck this model. You're gonna get him so good.
My fiance could tell I was getting upset again, so she pulled up a chair next to me to watch and cheer me on as I attempted to end my misery by beating her. Not my fiance, like Lilith.
Fuck! Oh my god. You were so fucking close.
And I couldn't have scripted it any better because then this attempt happened. I'm gonna talk you through most of this attempt to give you an insight into why I'm doing what I'm doing and actually what I'm doing. So this first round of phase 1 here is just a DPS phase. I'm just trying to deal as much damage as possible. She doesn't really fly away, and then around the end part here, boom, she flies away for round 2. And here, she will spawn her hookers. And the reason I call these two the hookers is because they're like the butcher. They got a hook, they hook you in, they change your positioning and screw you up and pull you into the spikes. It's not a good time. And they spawn these freaking bubbles when you kill them, and you gotta pop those before they pop you, if you know what I'm saying. Now we're on to round 3 here, which is pretty predictable. When you play it a bunch of times, you basically just stand on the edge and dodge your spikes and deal as much damage as you can once she's on the ground. Pretty confident. This is probably my most consistent part of this fight right here. And after this round is probably the hardest part of phase 1, where I'd say I've died the most. Out of the 1600 times I've died, this right here is where I've died the most. She's gonna quickly land and spawn 3 mobs. Each of these mobs will spawn 2 blood bubbles when they die, and her patterns of spikes is crazy at this point. There's a big triangle dropping right there that I managed to dodge. I got a good variation of that. Trying to pop these bubbles whilst she's in the air, quickly get rid of those thanks to my poison. She spawns even more bubbles, flies away. Here comes some more spikes. Okay, cool, we made it through the 4th round of phase 1. Now it's just me and her. She's gonna be flying up a lot in the air here, but once she's on the ground, we can easily damage her. And we're about to stagger her, meaning she's about to be CC'd. Crowd controlled on the ground. So as you see, the yellow bar is almost filling up here, and as she gets staggered here, that means I can finish her off without having to deal with too much shenanigans with the spikes.
Another round 2.
That's great. That's it.
And now phase 2 is about to start. The circle has been expanded. We have full access to the whole arena, and we're starting to drop as many poison traps as we can on the spot where she will revive and resurrect.
Party time.
I take her potion that she dropped to use it to get a barrier because my amulet gives extra damage while I'm in a barrier state. So there we have 3 poison traps being popped, as well as my ultimate. I'd use my ultimate a couple seconds early because it lasts for 15 seconds and this damage phase is about 12 seconds. So maximum efficiency right there. At this point she could go up or down, and ideally I want her to spawn this blister there on the ground on top of the other blister, because then it will absorb itself, which is very efficient. But it didn't happen to me, unfortunately. Now she will cut off the top of the map and I have to dodge all of these ghosts while standing on the top of the map because the rest of the map was on fire. And as I dodge here, she will pull me in, but I quickly get away from the ghosts there. Don't want those on the inside. That means I will get pulled into them. Here I managed to stagger her. For this second phase, there is no stagger bar. I will have no idea when I will stagger her, but there you see the first stagger. And when she does get staggered, some of those, 1 or 2 of those blisters on the ground gets removed. From there, I run in the black tar for as long as possible to make sure that she spawns the blisters on top of the other blister, which she did. So, as you can see, it didn't actually add an extra blister on the ground, it kind of absorbed into one. And here, I dodged the big slam on the ground there, the area, and now I know she will cut off this top right because I have damaged more than 50% of her health. The ghosts are coming for me while I need to stay on this platform for a couple seconds. Perfect, we are out of that phase now. We're on to the hardest part of this fight. When her life is under 50%, all of these monsters, when they die, will turn into ghosts, and I almost have nothing, no area to run to dodge her here. And of course she screams, and as she screams, the blisters are spawning ghosts that chase me. The area effect slam, I dodge, and she spawns the third blister there in the middle. So now I have an opportunity to hit her a couple times. Hopefully she gets, there you go, staggered, which removed one of those blisters on the ground.
So I don't know where to go after this.
Doing a lot of damage to her right now. The dark part of her health bar is poison damage, so it will keep ticking now when she lands. And she cuts off the final piece to this arena. As the ghosts are chasing me, I make it out so barely. And now we're on the final square here. She will always scream here, and this is an extended version of her scream. Instead of 4 claw attacks, she does 6. It even continues after the big AoE right there, and I move in to do a last bit of DPS. She's so close to being dead right now, and I am not able to kill her. We are entering the hardest part of this fight. I have never been able to dodge this part. She flies and makes the entire map covered in tar and fire, and I dodge the ghost, and she is dead. Yes! Thank God! I can't believe it! I don't need to try again! She's dead!
Freaking did it.